to TraderMerlin Show. Happy Friday, everybody. A nice frosty cheers to you. So cheers, everybody. We'll have a discussion on drinking. Apparently some people don't like the drinking thing. Others want some clarity on my drinking. No, I am not some alcoholic lush, guys. I have a nice cold beverage on a Friday show and maybe a couple beers during the week, but that's pretty much it. So we'll talk about that as we progress. Anyway, welcome everybody. Good to have you with us. Eric, Les, we got a few people beating Les. Now, Les was actually in the cryptocurrency thing this morning, so maybe I scared him away or he's just trying to die. Oh, there you are. You are there. I didn't see you there in third place, Les. Good to have you with us, Tony, as well. I'll answer your question actually on air today. Good to have you with us. Dana, Susan, Ron, happy whiskey weekend as well, or orange juice if that's your beverage du jour, or as it is around my house, we have fresh passion fruit juice. I have one passion fruit vine that has dropped already in one vine, which it's 8 feet tall and about 15 to 20 feet long. Dropped over 200 passion fruits in the last 2 weeks. So we've got passion fruit juice coming out our ears and making some passion fruit jams. Anyway, we don't want to talk about my gardening skills. But yes, hello everybody. Siraj, Mike, good to have you with us, Mike. Matt, Daniel, Katut, good to have you with us. Tony as well. All right. Ricky, good to have you with us, Ricky. So today, as usual, Friday sessions are a free-for-all of whatever we want to talk about. I'm going to start things off by going through the markets, which really surprised me. As you guys know, I had some put positions open. I still am keeping those ones for a while. I was kind of shocked today at the reaction to Powell's comments. We all of a sudden had an abrupt about face. I thought we'd see a little bit more weakness going into the weekend because of uncertainty, but Powell's comments clearly made everybody kind of at ease, and he basically said, look, tapering might happen maybe later this year, but right now it's not on the table. And I was like, oh, okay. People thought that was a point of clarity. Remember, he's not the only one who votes. There's 13 voting members out there. So it would be interesting to see what more of the group is saying, because from the comments from the Kansas City and the Dallas Fed, they sounded like totally in favor of tapering by the end of the year. So we'll still get a little bit of volatility. Either way, it is what it is. Markets had a beautiful up session. So let me walk through the top 7. Actually, I guess I'm moving on interest rates, but I'll peek at those today as well. And then you go, yes, Powell did thread the needle. He's a master of doing that, is he not, Ricky? He is so good at threading that needle. And you know, these guys all learn from each other. Years ago, Alan Greenspan had a thing he called Greenspeak, where basically you just say a whole bunch of crap that means nothing and come around full circle, and you left the whole room going, what did he say? Did he say something important? I don't know, but he answered my question. All right, so let's start off at the bottom. S&P 500 was your worst performer today, up 0.88%. I mean, you got to love it when your worst performer is up almost 1%. 4,506 is where it finished at today for the S&P futures. It's still trickling a little bit back and forth right now, but that's your gains for the day. Nasdaq right on the heels at 0.9% to the upside. All-time highs put in for Nasdaq and for the Russell 2000, or sorry, not the Russell, Nasdaq and S&P today, all-time highs. Now, good to see gold getting a little bit of a fire under it today. Some nice moves to the upside here. Still at 1820. I'm really optimistic about it breaking 1836 here. We'll have to wait till next week to get that to happen and keep things moving to the upside for gold. But all in all, looked good today. Unfortunately, if you look at SLV, I'm a little bit bummed because I got exercised at 22. I put a stop loss at 21.90, got stopped out at 21.90, and now it's rallying back up. Watch, silver will probably have a huge run because I got stopped out of all my SLV. That's just the nature of the beast. All right, also showing a nice little pop today, and again, this one you need to be careful with because of what's happening next week, but we had crude oil, which I made the comment yesterday that I actually expected to see it move higher before it sold off yesterday. Well, here we go. We got our leg up. You can see that move. Right now it's 68.69, and that line we have here, which starts our supply zone, is at 69.05 and goes up to roughly, I'll map out your exact numbers here, 69.62. So you got about a 60-cent range there for your zone for your supply, and we hit it today. So perfect one, came right up into it. Not sure which way it's going to go, but if I had to put my money on it, I would probably be looking for puts or betting that this one's going to be going down just because the downtrend's been in place since July. Lower lows, lower highs, and we're going to pull back up. Go short that bad boy. All right, so Russell, this was the story of the day. I'd outlined a couple supply levels, and really we're expecting it to kind of stall right 2 days ago, and it sold off. Perfect. Hit it and sold off, and then today just ripped. And right now you are in the upper end of this supply zone that goes all the way back to the 12th of July. Now, it's still within the mid part of this yellow box here, and I don't see that changing anytime soon for the Russell 2000, but all in all, a very bullish day, 2.93% for the Russell 2000. Thank goodness I didn't buy puts on that one. That would have been a nice loss on that trade. And number one, getting its feet back underneath it. And actually, we look at Bitcoin up 4.3% today. It still hasn't reached this high it established earlier the week. What is noteworthy, though, is look at some of these crypto gains today. Solana, I told you guys about my most recent purchase, Solana, which I bought back in July. That's up 15% today. Cardano up 13%, and I think that's going higher. Polkadot up almost 10%. Even the shitcoin Dogecoin, 7.8% move to the upside. So a lot of great gains out there in the crypto space, and I'm sure many of you are pretty happy about that. So again, with that, and just to make Henry happy, there's my glass, my friend. Cheers. We got a Woodford Reserve glass. Normally I like my own custom glasses, but today I'm going with the Woodford Reserve because I just put in a new liquor cabinet, which is housing my whiskey collection. It was taking up way too much of my counter space out there. All right, so on that topic, since you guys probably saw, let me move this over here. You probably saw the graphic that I posted as kind of the marketing for today's show, which of course I did a little bit of the Jackson Hole Symposium, as you can see right here. So there you go. That's to me what Wyoming looks like. Just old farmhouses. Once you get outside of Jackson, it's pretty boring. But yeah, I thought it'd be a nice picture. It's absolutely stunningly beautiful up there if you ever get a chance. But today's market's really driven by the talk track from Powell and the other central bankers. So we'll see what happens next week. Remember, we have one more day of the Jackson Hole Symposium. Tomorrow is the final day of it. So let me show you here. I want to go to the drinking question. Perfect. I'll start with this one and then we'll move on. So here is the question number one from Manuel. I'm going to start at the middle right here. It says, also, regarding drinking and all the fun stuff, do you have a rule to just drink on Fridays? I would really appreciate your answer on your rules when it comes to social events with beer or whiskey around. Look, I'm definitely a social drinker. I am not a, come home from work and finish a bottle of whiskey thing. It's funny, if you talk to my friends, it started, I collect things. If you know me well, I collect things. I collect hats, I collect shoes, I collect music, you name it. I'm eclectic with those types of things. For some reason, I'll get this little bug and I just start collecting different things. Well, it became I had a pretty substantial whiskey collection, and I probably have maybe a glass a week, really, for Friday. I mean, this is pretty much my consumption. Since it was such a great week for me, and I've got a vacation week heading up, I might have another glass this weekend. But normally I'm a cocktail kind of guy, like a Crown and Coke, but, everything in moderation I think is good. And regarding trading, we talked about this in the past. Personally, don't drink and trade. I wouldn't even have a beer. It's like, I have a buddy of mine who, he Ubers everywhere, and I'm always like, man, you spend so much money on Uber. And he goes, if I go anywhere and even have one beer, it's worth it for me to pay $20 for the risk of getting in an accident, getting a DUI, and all that stuff. So I'm like, that's pretty responsible. Well, we're dealing with financial responsibility, so I personally would not be drinking and trading. I've seen people impaired on alcohol. I've seen people impaired on, you name the drug. When I was on the trading floor, these guys were doing everything. I had guys smoking weed, doing acid, mushrooms, not good to be trading on. Really, if you think about all the things we have to do when live trading, when you're in the heat of the battle and you're watching all the prices move, you're watching the time and sales, the level 2 bid and ask, you got your hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, 1 minute, 5 minute charts all flashing everything. You got to have your wits about you. You can't have slow reaction times and I guess be impaired in any way. So don't do anything and be trading. Be clear-headed, clear-minded, and don't mess around with it. But I'm done for the day. I got nothing else to do with regards to markets. Of course, crypto's open 24/7, 365, so I guess I could trade crypto this weekend, but I've got my positions in place, and I'm going to stick to that. So cheers to the drinking side of things. And I don't know why, but I've just become a big fan of whiskey. Anyway, let's go to economic data. I want to really quickly talk about what happened today, because when you look at the numbers, I actually have the wrong chart. God dang, nabbit. See, you would think I was drinking earlier because my numbers are all off. All right, I'm gonna change things around here. I'm gonna go to Tom's question. Oh, thank you, NJ. Appreciate it. This is a good one. Tom says, I believe your play on SPY was buying a 425 November 15th put, right? Yes. So I have the November 15 puts for S&P, and I also have for the Nasdaq 100, and I can't remember what my strike price was for the 100, but yes, I have the Nasdaq 100 as well, and I think that was, I don't remember, can't think of it off the top of my head. Yes, impaired trading, rarely successful. Totally agree. Absolutely agree. So let's see. I agree we are overdue for a pullback and see a play that needs a net 50%. Cool. Do you set an OCO, just set a profit target, or allow it to decay for a time period? It's a great question, and I think I'm almost afraid to give my input because what I don't want you guys to do is kind of follow what I do. I mix things up. I don't have a steadfast rule with regards to how I'm taking profit on these puts that I'm in. What I can tell you is I know that my options are going to expire November 15th. So there's no way on earth I'm going to keep those things past October 15th, right? And I'll probably get out, it's September, right? I'm not looking for the long hold here. I don't want to get near the end when I start to all of a sudden have a bunch of time decay and things not working so well. So I will be out no matter what happens at least 30 days before expiration, most likely getting closer to 60 days before expiration on those ones. And normally I'm going to buy 120-day or 90-day expirations when I'm buying options, whether those are calls or puts, doesn't matter. Now, that said, if I am looking at these markets, and I'll bring up the screen here so we can see what I'm talking about. Let's go to the S&P. So here's your ES. You know, if I'm looking at this and I've got let's go to SPY. So here's your S&P 500, and let's put just the target, the strike price that I purchased at, right? I purchased the 425s. So I'll throw that on here, right? Come on, bro. Where is that? Right about there. And you notice, where did that line up with, right? That lines up with that demand zone, which is really the last time it had a sharp, aggressive sell-off and then ripped out of it. So to me, that would be a logical point. The next spot, although I think it's much higher, would be this 436. Now, I can assure you that if the S&P falls to 436 by mid-September, I'm going to unload my position because I have a feeling it'll pull back and potentially bounce at this 436 mark. So even though I bought the strike price down at 425, I'm not anticipating it getting there. I don't think it's going to get there. The reason I bought the 425 is they're real cheap, or they're much cheaper than buying the 436s, right? So I could buy more of those options. And if we do get the knee-jerk reaction, if we do get a black swan, or all of a sudden a day where the S&P falls 3%, that 3% could translate to a massive gain in that option contract, and that's probably when I will dump it. So, for example, we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, the market fell 0.5%, 0.5%, and those put options on S&P were up 14%. Now, what happens if that market would have dropped 2% or 5%? I'm going to make 100% in a day. I mean, I potentially could do that with these options, and I'm kind of gambling on, and I say gambling because it is a gamble. It is a high-risk bet given the trajectory of the market. I do feel like we've just gotten way too accepting of nothing but updates, month after month after month. At some point, that will come crashing down, and I'm hoping that my timing is right here. And of course, I'm okay to take some losses. I won't ride these options to zero, that's for sure. Just like I didn't ride those options back last April to zero. I got out at a certain point and kept some of the money, although the ones last April I lost a lot more. So, hey. NJ, thank you. And Jay Best Entertainment, thank you. You have a great weekend yourself. I will certainly have a good vacation. I'm going to listen to some good music, hang out with some family and friends, and I'm actually looking forward to bringing my dad his birthday present. I'll tell you about that because who knows, he may be randomly watching this show, and I just don't want to tell him what his birthday present is. But I think most of you who watch the show, you know what it is. All right, so much for... I'm telling you, I'm not a cat. Those triple leverage ones, man, those are dangerous things to be in, especially when stuff like today happens. I mean, it really wasn't that huge of an up day, but when you're triple leveraged, that's 6-7% could evaporate out of your account like that. So I agree with you, Tom. I do think that there should be rules that we establish for ourselves, such as a target, right? I do think that you'll see this market pull back and go straight down to that 436. Now, does that mean that this market is done and over and we're going to see nothing but a market sell-off from here on out? No, absolutely not. It just means the market is due for a pullback. And you can see we have them periodically. Some of these drops, let me just measure out some of the most recent ones, right? So the drop we had in mid-July was only a 4-day drop. That dropped 3.51%. Here we have another one that dropped in mid-June, and that dropped 2.55%. Here you have one that dropped in early May. That was only a 4-day drop, but it was 4.48%. Now, as I pointed out, those options that I bought yesterday or 2 days ago, on a half a point slide, I was actually doing great. On a half point slide, it was up 14%. So imagine what I would be up if it dropped only, let's say, 2% or 3%. I'm not looking to make the 100% gains here. I would love it, but I most likely will be out by that. Yeah, right, Eric? It does seem kind of interesting. It's like the 18th of every month it kind of happens. Although, did we get one let's see, what date did this slide for us on the July? Yeah, August was right around the mid-July. So maybe around the 15th of September is when we get the next big drop. Hopefully, it will drop sooner than that. I agree with you, Tom. He says, it seems like SPY is inoculated against bad news, but it is due. Everything seems to be inoculated against bad news. And it's like when you have bad news, the irony is this. When you have bad economic data, the numbers look like crap. What happens is the industry just goes, oh, well, don't worry about it, because the Fed and the government will bail you out. They'll give you a stimulus check. They'll give you some asset relief. They'll help your business. You can't evict anybody. And then the Fed comes in and prints more money and buys treasuries and mortgage-backed securities with more vigor. Now, keep your eye on the next Fed meeting, because at the next Fed meeting, you'll get another indication from them about what they're going to be doing for interest rates and tapering going forward. Really, for me, it's about the next kind of round of economic data. If we get unemployment numbers that are much better than expected, so let's say we have a significant drop in the number in unemployment, then that would really act as a catalyst for the Fed to taper sooner rather than later. So now it's going to be much more critical, I believe, keeping your eye on these reports, and be careful when those reports come out, because the market moves have been rather aggressive when we get these reports. And right now I think the Fed is hinging on economic data. If we get better economic data, then you're going to see this market take a dive. Why? Because they'll say they're going to taper, and then it's official. Then it's the beginning of the end. Beginning of the end of financial stimulus for a while. Granted, the Fed will always be doing that. I'm promoting bad, dangerous behavior? I don't think I am. Definitely don't think I'm promoting bad, dangerous behavior. I'm promoting risk management. Absolutely, risk management. So let's see. Here's another one. Lee sent this in. I've had actually surprising in the Elevate session I did this morning. There was a couple people asking about this, and I'm going to actually go much more in depth than Crypto Investor Live, but I'll do kind of high level here. Can you talk about Grayscale funds? So for those that don't know, Grayscale has GBTC, and they also have an Ethereum fund out there. Now, I'm not a fan of these because they're trusts, right? They're not an ETF. They're different than an ETF. I would be more inclined to wait for, the Fed. Thanks. But I thought you were talking about me, Believable. I was like, well, I'm not promoting bad behavior. Look, the thing with the Fed, Believable, is you've got a group of people who obviously doesn't want to have mud on their face. So let's spend. And if all the doo-doo hits the fan, I can maybe step down and disappear underneath the radar, because they're going to go after the Fed chairman. Most people don't know the other people who are making these decisions. It all comes down to the Fed chair. So most of them don't want to have their legacy be that they crash the market. So they're going to do whatever it takes to pump it up. And I agree with you. I think it is somewhat irresponsible to do what they're doing, because it's not thinking 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road. It's thinking right now. And how do we fix it right now? Which, that's their job. It's a tough spot. I sure as hell don't want to be in it. Cool. No worries, man. No worries. I'm surprised I haven't had more haters on here. Some of the emails I've received in the past when I did Power Trading Radio, my goodness. I actually kept one of them. He said, I think I told you guys, this guy, his name was Larry from the Bay Area. Just a crotchety old guy who was just angry at the world, and he called me. He said, I have to censor a couple words because I just want to say them on the show, but he said, in one sentence, you pompous, arrogant, blank bastard a-hole. That was his email to me. I was like, wow, my, what did I do to upset you there, Larry? Anyway, we won't go down that road. So, Grayscale funds. What's great about Grayscale is it now gives you access to a variety of different markets. So, for example, if we look at Grayscale, they already give you access to Bitcoin, GBTC, which personally I'd stay away from because it's a trust, and it's generally going to bounce back and forth between a premium or a discount compared to Bitcoin. And we have that calculation here. It seems somewhat broken right now. Essentially, you're looking at a $9,000 discount right now if you buy GBTC, and something's wrong with it. I don't trust it, so I'm personally not getting involved with GBTC. But you also have it for Ethereum, which is ETHE. So here's your Grayscale Ethereum Trust. Not a lot of volume, but it does give you exposure to Ethereum. You have LTCH. There's a Litecoin. So with these, we can now get access to the. No, this is not LTCH. It's is it LTCG? I forget the ticker symbol. There's a Litecoin one. Damn it, I can't remember it off the top of my head. It's LTC something. You have Bitcoin Cash, which is BTCG. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of different ones out there. Now, if you wanted to, you could be looking at Grayscale to get into individual products. So, for example, they have them for Chainlink, Ethereum, Filecoin, Horizon, Litecoin, LivePeer, Stellar Lumen, Zcash, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Basic Attention Token. Those are all right now tradable if you wanted to trade those Grayscale ones. Personally, wait for the ETFs to come out. They're going to happen. If it's not going to happen at the end of this year, it will happen at the beginning of next year. And I think that's where I would be going. That's where I would be headed. Oh, great. Believable. Don't worry, man. You don't have to. Thank you. I appreciate that, but you don't need to worry about that. It's okay. Appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoy the show. Dogecoin is another one that you can get as well. So for some, like Big Eb says, Grayscale is my first exposure to crypto. Yes. I know a lot of people are getting in that way, but I'm concerned. And actually, Tom sent me a really interesting video on LTCN. Thank you. I knew it was something like that. There's LTCN. So there is your, wow. There's your Grayscale Litecoin. Something looks wrong with that. That doesn't look right. Grayscale Litecoin Trust. Something looks really wrong with this. We could probably do the calculation, but this doesn't look right. Something looks broken, because if I look at Litecoin, here's the chart of Litecoin, right here. Litecoin been moving up. Yes, it's a little sideways, but it's been bouncing up. Whereas you look at LTCN, something looks broken there, right? I think you guys can all see that. It just doesn't look the same. So I don't know. I don't trust them. Again, I would wait for the different ETFs to show up. Make sure it's an ETF or an ETN, not a trust, which is what Grayscale is doing. And of course, Grayscale is pushing hardcore right now to get their ETF listed, but Gensler is just not having it. The SEC is really saying, no, not yet. You have other regulators saying not yet, but the pressure is there. And let's be honest, there's so much institutional money right now flowing into cryptos. If you read the Coinbase Prime Report, you can actually go out and just go to Google and type in Coinbase Prime Report.pdf and download that. It's got a bunch of great charts and just illustrations showing the unbelievable amount of money pouring into crypto from an institutional perspective. Yes, retail's been involved, and we're peanuts compared to the big guys, but those guys are really pouring in. I mean, look at BlackRock, right? BlackRock, which has $9 trillion of assets under management, just bought big chunks of Marathon and Riot blockchain. So while they're not buying crypto directly, they're moving into this space. You have Neuberger Berman Genesis, which is one of the big hedge funds out there and mutual funds. They've got $402 billion assets under management. They're now looking at exposure to cryptos. United Wholesale Mortgage, UWM, right? These guys are the second largest mortgage lender in the United States. I don't know if it's in the world, but in the United States, they have $183 billion in loans written in 2020 alone, and now they're talking about accepting cryptocurrencies and digital assets for payment. So the ecosystem is definitely expanding into the adoption that I was thinking we would get a couple years back. It's just maybe a little slower, but now all of a sudden it's really just ripping to the upside. So I'm pretty happy about that. Doesn't NAV always normalize? If we wait long enough, GBTC, ETH should both come back to the... Yes, Alan, I believe you're right, but notice it's not happening. If you look at GBTC, right, let's bring up that comparison I have. You're thinking it should come back up. It's not. It should be at this line 0. This is fair value. Something is broken, and I remember, Tom, you sent that video, and it was a really complex one, but I'm glad you sent it. It was over my head. But I personally just would stay away from these guys. If they're this disconnected, if this is really the $9,800 discount to the current price of Bitcoin, in theory, we should just do what? Load the boat on this one, right? But it's not moving up. It's not going back towards equilibrium. So something is fundamentally wrong here. I just stay away from them. Can I pay my Eric says, can I pay my mortgage with an NFT dog avatar? You know what? Sometime in the future. I mean, look, Budweiser just bought some. Visa's got some NFTs. This is a crazy fad I just don't get. And now I'm finding myself feeling like an old man because I'm like, I just don't get this. You call this rock and roll? These Beatles aren't rock. Yeah, I don't know. NFT stuff is great. I can probably find that one, but I just can't do it while I'm live right now, Tom. Isn't this the only way institutions can buy crypto? No, not at all. They're going straight to companies like Coinbase. Coinbase has a full-on institutional arm. It's called Coinbase Prime. And the numbers were like, from a couple $100 billion to talking about trillions of dollars worth of asset purchases from big institutions. Like, whoa, holy cow, now we're really moving to the upside. It was crazy the amount of transactions being done. But yeah, we could talk about that a lot more on another show, and maybe I'll bring on that Prime report. Okay, so Lee, that's it. All I got to say about Grayscale funds. Great question here from John. And John, I will make this full screen for you. He says, I saw on yesterday's show you shared your put positions on SPY and triple Qs. Would you mind sharing how to calculate the appropriate or reasonable amount of hedge to create portfolio protection? I'm a bit confused on how to set this up. Sure. It's actually relatively easy. So what you'll want to do is you'll look at delta. And I'm not going to make this an options class. Of course, I'm going to promote taking options classes wherever you decide to take classes. Of course, I work for Online Trading Academy, so I guess I kind of would say go to Online Trading Academy. But there's other places they can teach you as well. With regards to hedging, so let's say you have 100 shares of Microsoft, right? And you're thinking, okay, well, 100 shares of Microsoft, that's... I need to buy one options contract because an options contract is 100 shares. Well, that's not exactly giving you coverage, right? It depends on what the delta is. So let's say it has a delta of 50. That means for every dollar, you're only getting 50 cents. So if that's the case and you have 100 shares of Microsoft and you want to fully hedge that position, you'd have to buy two options contracts if it has a delta of 50. If it had a delta of 33, you're only getting 33 cents per dollar move of the underlier. Therefore, you'd have to buy 3 of those options to protect your long position or your position. That's the simplest way I can explain it. You just want to look at delta. Now, granted, there's other factors here that could make it much more complicated, but at surface value, if you want to fully hedge and protect a position, keep your eye on delta, and that will tell you how much you should be buying of those options to protect your position. Pretty simple. All right. Let's see, what else do I have? Kevin, I thought this was kind of an interesting one. Natural gas, we talked about this one. It's just been rocking to the upside. And I don't know if you guys saw what happened with natural gas out there yesterday, but it just exploded to the upside. And of course, a lot of people maybe try to jump on that one. Here is your natural gas today. So Kevin, what happened? It was the inventories report. It was the natural gas numbers that came out on Thursday. And those natural gas numbers came out, I believe it came out at, I'm going to test my brain here. I think the previous number was like 46 billion, and it's all measured in cubic feet of whatever the vapors are, however they calculate it. But they were expecting to have inventories, I believe, 46, or the previous number was 46 billion. They're expecting it to come out at 40, and they came out at 29. So that's a significant decline in the inventory. So what happened is all of a sudden our supply dropped sharply, and we get a spike like this in natural gas, which ripped aggressively through those highs that you established a couple weeks ago. I would love to. I actually like Steve Moses, but unfortunately he works for somebody that I don't trust, I don't like, and I don't want to promote. I think he's one of the scum of the earth people, so he works for that organization. So, yeah, unfortunately, and the day that he stops working for that guy, I'll gladly bring him on the show because I like him. I think he's a good person. But unfortunately, he worked for somebody that I think so lowly of that if he was stuck on my shoe, I wouldn't wipe him off. I would throw my shoe in the incinerator and I'd burn it. Tell me how you really feel, Merlin. How do you really feel about this guy? Cheers. Hope you all have a good weekend. I don't usually dislike people that much, but this individual, I despise the individual that Steve Moses works for. And the funny thing is, somebody is probably going to say something to him and he's going to text me, oh, Merlin, I don't like when you talk about me. I'll beat it. I'm going to show trading results. Let's have a competition, pal. It's documented that you don't make money. All right. Let's see. I don't want to go to economic calendars. We're not going to do that yet. What time is it? What time we got? I guess we can open up a little bit. What do you guys want to, any questions you guys have? What things you want to get into? Cool. Yeah, it was Lynn Alden. Oh, and Lynn Alden, I'll tell you, really brilliant. I mean, just almost too nerdy, right? That report was pretty interesting, the Lynn Alden. Paid for that fight. I should just leave him alone. Leave the guy alone, right? Just let him do his thing. Let karma come back and bite that guy so bad in the butt that he just runs away to the hills and never seen again. Let that happen to him. What are some noteworthy things that I wanted to get into today? I mean, obviously, most of the stuff I was looking at, so Steve Moses is good. He's a good guy. He's a really good person. I actually really like him. But unfortunately, when things happen with OTA, a lot of these instructors had to go elsewhere to look for work. Why not? It's fun. So, we have a lot of different companies start up, and you guys know that I've had a few people come on the show that work for competing companies, and they're still decent people. So, but there's the one, the only that. I'd still just could care less for that other individual. All right, so for me today, you guys were talking about, I think I saw Algorand in here, and I think some people talking about all-time highs for some of these cryptos. I'm going to just do a little smattering of that until you guys send in some more questions, and we'll keep on rolling through. Obviously, a great day for crypto. Now, the big thing here, the reason why I think you're seeing all this happen is Ethereum is getting closer to rolling out ETH 2.0, which is going to kind of maybe change the landscape of transactions. So right now the big argument against Ethereum is that it's proof of work right now, and it may actually turn into proof of stake. That's what they're trying to do. You compromise a little bit of security there by going from proof of work to proof of stake, but that's one concern. The other concern is that right now Ethereum does about 15 transactions per second. With the next upgrade plus sharding, they're talking about doing 100,000 transactions per second, which to me seems a little bit lofty. If it is that, if it is 100,000, I mean, now you're talking about the industry leader, right? Because things like Solana is talking about doing 65,000 transactions per second. You've got some of these others talking about 5 or 10,000. If you can do 100,000 transactions per second, scalable, then you really are in the driver's seat with regards to the crypto world. That said, I think what's happening is it's really drawing attention to the smart contract space. For those of you who watched my presentation today in the Elevate session, I was really looking at, I think the main exciting part for me is the DeFi, this ecosystem of decentralized finance, and how quickly it's blowing up in a good way, meaning that there's opportunity abound. And for some of those, they will disappear. For some of them, they will do rather well. Yes, Cardano is in that space. And, like I said, to me, it's that kind of rising tide floats all boats. Here is... Solana is going to be competing with Ethereum. Cardano is competing with Ethereum, and they're rolling out their smart contracts in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we will have a pretty significant reaction, I think. I still am bullish on Cardano. I think you'll see it above $4 by September 12th. There's some other things. I actually watched an interview this morning with Charles Hodgkinson, and everything's on point. Everything's rolling directly as they think it will. Polkadot is another one that's competing in that space. So you have a lot of companies competing for the dominance in smart contracts or that smart contract ecosystem. So I think that's actually a rather exciting development in the crypto space. All my recent additions, except for one, have been in companies that are looking at scalable blockchain smart contract technology. The only other one I added, and I think on the last show, somebody asked me what was my most recent addition. That was Solana. And now the newest one I just added is Chainlink. I bought some Chainlink because Chainlink is an oracle, and maybe you might not know what an oracle is. Well, let me go LINK, and we will go to Link USD, and we'll take it from, why not go to Coinbase? All right, so I added Chainlink to my crypto portfolio, and there it is. Up 6.7% today. So I just added Chainlink in the session we did yesterday. So pretty timely, I guess, to buy it right there. You should own all three of those. Polkadot too. I agree. And it's a great point, Miguel, because one of the things I talk about in the Elevate session is I don't know which one of these one's going to make it. I mean, if you put me back in 1998 when I was just getting into day trading, I was in front of the screens all day long looking at all of these publicly traded companies and said, hey, which 5 are going to make it? Or which one's going to make it? I would not have been able to tell you. Books a million? I don't know. It's gone now. So part of my portfolio is saying just that. As Big Eb says, you've got Ethereum, Cardano, Polkadot, Solana, and others. Those are the big, the four horsemen, the ones leading that charge in the space. Ethereum still has a commanding lead, but I have all of those in my portfolio. Why? Because I don't know which one's going to ultimately make it. Polkadot could be the king down the road. I don't know. But I want to make sure I have some of it along the way, and we'll know by the price charts, right? We'll know if all of a sudden Polkadot's falling out of favor, or Cardano, or Ethereum, or whichever one we're in starts to fall out of favor. You'll see by the price charts as other competitions start to accelerate. So just like we would look at different analysis for, let's say, energy stocks. If I was looking to buy energy stocks, I would probably pull up XLE and see how XLE is performing. And I'd use that as my baseline. And I would add in the components of XLE and see how they compare. Which one's strongest right now? Great, that's where I'm putting my money. And I'm doing the same thing with crypto, is trying to ride that lead horse. Yes, it might not have the 10x potential or 100x potential it did a year ago, but I'm cool having a 5x or a 10x. I've already had my couple 100 plus x's. Any commentary on the state of legislation? I don't think there's been any real changes with regards to legislation on crypto. We know that the most recent infrastructure bill put in the verbiage that really left the door wide open for interpretation on what a broker is. Now, what I think will happen is down the road, I think we'll get some modification of that, and it will backpedal a little bit. But right now, when you have a $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, you're trying to get money from anywhere. So I think they're going to leave that for a while until we get clarity and get the money in the coffers to help fund this colossal funding bill. Can you talk about Sol versus HBAR? Both are moving very differently in price, but my understanding HBAR is throttling their transaction per second at 10,000. Well, that's actually a much more complex one, Sam. I'm actually going to talk about that in the Crypto Investor Live. You're dealing with a different technology, right? So when you deal with Solana, you're dealing with proof of stake as well as what they call proof of history, POH. So you have those two technologies. I had a little notepad over here. I like writing things down as I'm talking about it. Where does my notepad go? I guess we're not going to have that notepad today. They're a hybrid. Solana is. Now, if you look at hash graphs and that type of technology, it's not a normal blockchain. It's using what's called a directed acyclic graph, which is a kind of complex discussion. Those technologies, like IOTA, like Hashgraph, like IOTEX, those are using this Hashgraph technology, which when the network gets bigger, it gets faster. So when you're small and you're using their technology, it's not great. But as you grow and more users come in, it gets more robust, more stable, more secure, and faster. So it's interesting to see you have that type of system that as they get bigger, get better. So right now, I think you're not seeing your ecosystem grow as much because most of the interest is on proof of stake, proof of work, and some of these new ones like proof of history technologies. But yeah, I'm not going to go much more in depth than that. But yes, they might be throttling. I don't know why they would. There's no reason to throttle it right now. At this point, you want to be waving at everybody going, hey, I'm doing 100,000 transactions per second. Look at me. Oh, thank you, Mikias. I love it too. I love it so much. On a Fridays are usually my favorite. You guys are a lot of fun on a Friday. Okay, so I'm going to just show this screen here, and I'm going to kind of wrap things up. This is what we have cooking for Monday. It's really not a lot. And unfortunately, as you guys know, I will not be doing a show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday because I will be in Lake Tahoe, or no, I will be in Northern California, and I don't know where I'm going or staying or doing. I know I'm going to go see a couple of concerts on Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm driving back here Thursday, which means I will be able to do a show on Friday. Here's what's cooking for Monday's calendar. You see the 30th. Why these numbers are all wrong? Whoever copied these over, which is me, by the way, guys, did them wrong. Yeah, here you go. This is what should be happening on Monday, so the dates are wrong. This is what I get for rushing to get this done today. Apologies. Mea culpa. I will change it on the fly to make this stuff work. This is the 30th right here. I knew I had them both up, but they were just awkwardly off. There you go. So for Monday, only one piece of news that I'm very curious to see, and that is the pending home sale. So you can see the previous month's number was negative 1.9%. That one kind of was seemed like a total outlier. It seems like sales of homes have been doing really well, but you can see right here, negative 1.9 is the previous. They're expecting it to come out at 0.5%. So not a huge surge in the number of pending home sales, but at least it's getting back to positive, right? Getting back to some upside movement. So that's the most important one for me on Monday. The other part here is you start to get some manufacturing numbers, but it starts with China, which I'm not so excited about. There's definitely some later on in the week manufacturing numbers, but that is your real big stuff. For next week, I know, Tomasino. I know. For next week, you also have a big announcement happening on Wednesday, which I think you guys should pay attention to. That's going to be crude oil inventories. Now, not crude oil inventories. The OPEC meeting, right? The OPEC meeting is going to be happening on Wednesday. It's an all-day meeting, but remember, last time they had the OPEC meeting, they raised production numbers, and then all of a sudden, 2 days later, we talked about a Delta variant lockdown for COVID. And since then, crude oil has been on a slide. It would not surprise me to see OPEC say we might actually cut production, and that could spike oil back up again, right? And they're kind of playing this cat and mouse game with all the political leaders doing COVID lockdowns and stuff like that. Enjoy your music show. So Foo Fighters last night. Oh, nice. Foo Fighters, the Forum. I tried to get tickets to that one, and I was like, nah. Yeah, I would love to have seen that. They're on my list. I haven't seen them yet, but I bet that was a great show, Ron. What else do I have? That's next Monday. And next Monday is Labor Day. So, no, I'll be back before then, Big Eb. I'm going to do the Friday show next week. I'm basically doing, it's funny because I'm going to see Fish on Tuesday, Fish on Wednesday. I come back, and Thursday night I'm going to see Chase Rice at the Orange County Fairground. And then Friday I'll be back, and I'll do a show then. But yeah, if Monday is Labor Day, is it? Huh. If it's Labor Day, then I'll be off that day too. Jeez Louise. I feel like I'm taking so much time off. I feel like I'm cheating you guys out of free content. Let's see. Is there anything else? No, that's pretty much it that I have for today. Anything else you guys want to discuss before we wrap up? Yeah, I will take that Labor Day off. Who knows? Maybe I'll go to Disneyland. Huh? Go to Disneyland? She's shaking her head. No Disneyland. Well, I'm going to go to Disneyland by myself on Monday then. All right, guys. I guess that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much. I hope you had an enjoyable trading week. Hope that you did well. I know that most of you are looking at that crypto space and getting into it and holding things like Cardano and Solana and Polkadot, so you're doing rather well on that. So good. Hopefully, for those of you who are long, you get some more upside move in the markets. I'm open for a market crash next week just because I've been building a short position. But hey, I'll be greedy and selfish and ask for a downside move in the markets. That said, I'll probably be active next week in my accounts. Maybe I'll tweet out a couple things from the road. But again, happy Friday, everybody. Cheers. Thank you so much for all your participation. I will see you all on next Friday, 7 days away from today. If not, I will see you guys in the Crypto Investor Live on Tuesday. For those of you who are in that, 9 a.m. on Tuesday, 9 a.m. on Friday will be the Crypto Investor Live sessions. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye.